Major Bowie joined the Suffolk Police Department in September of 1996. Throughout his career, he has worked on various assignments, including uniform patrol, special investigations, special operations, and administration, and he was the first supervisor chosen to lead the neighborhood enforcement team. During his career, Major Bowie has served as a member of the department's SWAT team and is currently its executive SWAT officer. Major Bowie has attended various law enforcement schools, such as the West Point Leadership School, Professional Executive Leadership School, and is a graduate of the 264th session of the FBI National Academy. So we are very lucky to have Major Bowie here with us today. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. I appreciate it. Introductions like that, guys, just so y'all know, introductions are, I've sat in classes before where people introduce themselves, and by the time they're done, we're ready for the first break, right? You're going through an hour. So the reason for it, in this case, is I want you guys to know that the person standing up here talking to you should be up here talking to you. I've taught this class to thousands of people, churches, to businesses, to schools, to all city employees, which are in the process of doing that again also. And I say all that just so you'll know that the person giving you the information should be up here giving you the information. We've all attended classes to where the person up there is just somebody they filled in who's a general instructor who can read from a PowerPoint. And we're not going to do a whole lot of that today, okay? We're not going to do a whole lot of read from the PowerPoint. We're going to have a general conversation, and we're going to talk about what we can do to give you guys at least a 1% chance of surviving an active shooter event if it were to occur in your business. How many of y'all have had this class before that's in the classroom? How many, and I can't see people that are online, but if you raise your hand, how many of you, since you've had it in the classroom, have made a plan when you go somewhere or you come to work if the event an active shooter would take place? Be honest. Be honest. If you didn't raise your hand, I guess my next question would be is why? Why haven't you made those plans? And I think the reason that most people will say is that because it would never happen in Suffolk, right? An active shooter event would never happen here. It could never happen here in Western Tidewater, right? Never happen. It could never happen in Virginia Beach. It could never happen at Virginia Tech. It could never happen at an elementary school in Texas. It never happen in Colorado. Because it never happens to us, right? It always happens somewhere else. True or false? We don't make those plans because it can never happen to us. That's what 19 kids said when they went to school in Texas, that could never happen to them. 19 of them didn't come home because a guy entered their school, looked them in the eye, and shot them in the head. That's what we're dealing with, right? If we don't want to make a plan, if we don't want to take 60 seconds out of our day to make a plan on what we're going to do if somebody comes through that door shooting, me personally, if we're all out to dinner together at a restaurant, I'm glad y'all don't make a plan because I made one, right? I made one. And the old adage is, I don't have to be faster than the bear. I just have to be faster than you, right? I made my plan. Me and my family's leaving. You and your family, if you didn't make a plan, are going to have to use that 10 to 15 seconds to formulate that plan while you're still sitting there. And I'm going to tell you up front, guys, the best way to survive an active shooter event is to not be there. The best way to survive an active shooter event is to not be there. Okay, if I tell you that I'm going to walk up to, what's your name? If I walk up to Lisa right now and I pull my gun out right here, am I going to miss Lisa? No, I'm not going to miss. I don't even have to be a good shot, right? I'm not going to miss Lisa. If I say, Lisa, you got 10 seconds and I'm going to start shooting, do you want that 10 seconds? Or do you want me to just shoot you at 3 feet? You want 10 seconds because you might be at the door then, right? And I know shooters because I'm a firearm instructor and I've seen shooters and I know how they shoot. And I know from that distance, they're not going to miss. But if at least it gets to the door, there's a possibility I may miss, right? her chances of survival go up if she uses that 10 seconds. The human brain cannot formulate a plan and execute that plan at the same time. You can't do it. When we talked last time, how long does it take the police to get here? Tell me. How long? At least. Yeah. And I know I've heard that laugh before because the next answer is too long, right? Daggone right. I've had emergencies before in my own life to where my heart stopped beating and I went down in my living room floor. And as my wife was slapping me around, but she felt like that was a good opportunity because that's how they tell you to make people wake up, is to slap them around. So she used it to her advantage and slapped me around. When I came to, I was like, where in the heck is the help? Right? Because when it's your emergency, it's a long time, right? In reality, the national average for a police response, the national accepted average is 7 minutes. 7 minutes. I can pull my gun out right now and I can shoot this gun right now in 7 minutes, 280 times. This gun from the holster, 280 times. We train 2 rounds, 3 seconds, 2 rounds, 3 seconds from the holster. Boom, 3 seconds. So I did the math before I got here, so I wouldn't screw it up in front of y'all. I didn't realize we were recording, so I would have did more math. But 280 rounds in 7 minutes. Y'all don't even have 280 people in this building, do you? At any given time. What I'm saying is that everybody online and everybody sitting in this room, I can shoot 280 people before the police ever get here. If I have the target-rich environment, right? If I have everybody in the same place, right? The guy in Texas, what did he do? Went into a classroom, right? Target-rich environment. Target-rich environment. He had plenty of targets right there. He could keep killing people until he ran out of bullets, until he ran out of targets, or until somebody does something. And what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to give you guys 1% chance of survival. What's your name? Harry. Terry? Perry. I was close. I was getting there. I was going to run out of letters here eventually. I would get it right. You got, if I tell you, I'm going to give you guys, if you do nothing, if an active shooter comes in this building right now and you do absolutely nothing, what are your chances of survival? Absolutely nothing, right? Zero. Zero. If you do something, if you run away, if you hide, or you fight, that gives you a 1% chance of survival, right? At least 1% chance. Better than nothing, right? I told you this story last time. I'll tell you again. When I was a Little League baseball coach and I coached my son, which we all know we should never do, right? Because all you people in the room who know your husbands or your spouses or your wives have coached their own kids' team, it's a mistake. Because I was horrible. I was horrible because what was I doing? I was hard on my son, right? But I was great to your son. To your son, I was a great coach because he would strike out and I'd say, come here. That's a heck of a try. Put my arm around him, walk him back. You're going to get him next time, right? Get him next time. Good try. Keep working that. My son goes up and strikes out. What do? Get over here right now. Get over here right now. Stand right here. No, closer. Closer. Get over here where I can see you. All right? And if you're not going to swing the bat, the next time you go up the bat, don't take it. Don't take the bat with you. Right? Because you're not going to swing. So why take it? It's just extra added weight. Leave it in the dugout. You go up there, stand up there for 3 pitches, then you walk back to the dugout. Great coaching, right? Yeah, I should have went pro. I was really good. No, a sucky coach, right? I was giving him 0% chance of survival. 0% chance of hitting the ball because he didn't have a bat, right? Now, if I give him his bat and he swings, he's got at least 1% chance he might hit the ball. What we're going to talk about today, I wanted to get you guys to carry the bat up to the plate. If you don't, if you had this class last year and you did nothing, this class did you no good. I'm wasting my time, right? I'm asking you today, give yourself and give your family a chance of survival. If it ain't about you, think about your kids, your spouse, your siblings. Give them a chance, because your plan when you're out at the restaurant is going to save them also. If you don't want to do it enough for yourself, do it for your family members, okay? I taught this class to a room full of dudes. Now, for the ladies in the room, how hard is that? I'm telling a room full of guys how to stay safe. You think they want to hear that? Because dudes know what? Everything, exactly. You can't tell me nothing. I know how to stay safe. I don't want another man telling me how to stay safe, right? Because I know how to stay safe, because I know everything, right? But what I know is that a bullet knows no name, it knows no race, it knows no gender, it knows no age. When somebody fires a bullet from a gun, that bullet is going to continue to travel until it hits something, until it stops. All right? When a bullet enters your body and hits you in the heart or hits you in the artery, you're going to die. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how tough you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. You're going to die. The best way to survive an active shooter event is what? Not be there. And I'm going to give you that 10 to 15 seconds today not to be there. What's an active shooter event? Anybody know? It's okay. Shout it out. It involves one or more persons engaged in killing or attempting to kill multiple people in an area occupied by multiple unrelated individuals. Right? If I shoot Lisa because Lisa had just wronged me or pissed me off, right? And I'm not gonna cuss today. Last time I think I did. And I'm not gonna cuss today, because I had a class one time where a lady came up to me and said, "Hey, I just want you to know that you gave that disclaimer before our class that you might cuss." And she said, "And you did." She said, "It made me disturbed." And I was like, all right, she's right, right? She's right. It's hard for me because to get my point across, sometimes I will use foul language. But I don't mean any harm by it. I just sometimes will use foul, but I should, right? I'm going to do better. And this is being recorded, so you can't play it again if I use a lot of cuss words, not without, bleeping me out every other word. So I said pissed off, and that's really not a cuss word. So if Lisa pisses me off and I walk up and I shoot her because she's done something to wrong me, is that an active shooter? Does it matter? Because Lisa's just as dead, right? It doesn't change. Now, if I shoot Lisa, now that's murder, right? If I shoot Lisa, and I say, you know what, she's pissed me off too, and so is she. I'm going to prison anyway. I might as well take them two also, right? Now I'm an active shooter. Yes. The shooter, there's no real. How does Hollywood portray the shooter to us? Trench coat, cowboy hat, just looks like a shooter, right? When you see him on TV, you're going, how do you not know that's the killer, right? He's dressed like the killer. What's the shooter look like? Like all of us, right? Like me, like you, like anybody. That's what. So don't, the profile set, usually now it does fall into the range more so of white males, 18 to 25. That's still predominantly the shooter. Why? I don't know. I don't think anybody knows why white males, 18 to 25, want to hurt people more than other people do. If we figure that out, we can probably stop active shooters, right? So don't get caught up in what you think an active shooter looks like. If somebody walks through your door and it's 90 degrees outside and they're dressed in a trench coat and a hat and all that, should your hair stand up? Yeah, and say, okay, this is weird. What I want you to remember throughout this class is that people aren't suspicious. Behavior is. People aren't suspicious. Behavior is. Doesn't matter what he's doing, walking down my street in my neighborhood, that doesn't make him suspicious. What makes him suspicious when he starts looking in my car windows and he starts jiggling door handles and all that. That then he becomes suspicious. So remember that, even through everything that you do, that people are not suspicious. Their behavior is what's suspicious. Don't judge people, judge their behavior. They're deliberate, focused, detached. They may have been bullied when they were a kid, suicidal. We're starting to find that really isn't the case anymore, right? We're hearing more and more and more about shooters who are either shot by the police or they just give up. They get caught, right? They're not really doing themselves. You know why? Because they're cowards. They're cowards. And that's usually when I would use a cuss word right there, but I'm not going to. They're cowards. You know, why would anybody go into a place where there's a lot of unarmed people and start shooting them? You know, people that really can't defend themselves, you know. If they wanted a fight, you could come down to the police station and start shooting at other people who have guns, right? They don't want to fight because they're cowards. That as far as the shooter, that should be in bold letters, cowards. That's what they are. Where does it happen? Everywhere, right? How often do we hear about it, guys? Every day, right? I usually I didn't do this today, but usually I'll bring in headlines to say, look at the headline, look what the news reported today. Such and such murdered. You know, man kills family with an axe. You know, just the horrible stuff that goes on in our world. But there's good things that happen in our world that they don't report on. But that's what the headlines read. It can happen anywhere. Lowe's, Walmart, Applebee's, here, church, you know, you name concerts, you name any gathering, right? Any gathering. I went last weekend to my grandson was in he goes to Isle of Wight Academy and he was in like up for Harvest King. He's 5. So the how you win is you collect the most money, which I knew was going to be bad for me. I knew it was going to get expensive for me because not for him because you know he really like he don't care one way or the other. No, but my wife cares. Yes, and she went on a collected money manhunt, and you know anyway, you may forget my point. Point is, I went to this. There was a harvest festival they had, kids, families, and all that. But when I was leaving the house, I felt the need to be armed. I carried my gun to this event, you know, and normally I wouldn't do that, you know, because it's a fun event, right? Who wants to carry a gun? But before I left the house, I carried my gun with me because I felt like we're a better place for something bad to happen than a place like this, right? So that's the world we live in, guys. Can happen anywhere. 40% in businesses, 29% in schools, outdoors, and other places. Don't put a label on wherever y'all go where there's large gatherings, there can be a problem. You got to start assessing your situation wherever you're at. Okay, what we're going to talk about today, we talked about run, hide, fight, right? Y'all heard that term, right? Avoid, deny, defend. Run, hide, fight is probably been copyrighted some kind of way and you can't use it. So avoid is run, deny is hide, defend is fight, right? It's the same thing. When you look at your options in an active shooter event, that's truly it. You can run away, which is what I recommend you to do because the best way not to get shot is to not be there. If you cannot run away, you can hide, barricade yourself in this room. If you can't do that and they find you, you have to fight, right? You have to fight. And you have to fight for your life, right? It's scary because if you lose your fight, you lose your life. Do you think that the shooter is compassionate? You think a man that went into, what are they going to call him a man? A coward that went into an elementary school and killed 19 children, you think he's compassionate? Think he cares about any of us? You think if you beg for your life, he's going to say, you know, you seem like a nice person. I won't shoot you. Right? They're not. They're going to shoot you because that's what they're there to do. The only way to stop them is to not be there. The only way to stop them is them not find you. The only way to stop them is for you to fight. fight back. A lot of these end in civilians stopping the threat. Do y'all know what the plan was in Texas for the police? What do you think it was? When they arrived on scene, them cops, what do you think they were supposed to do? Their plan is the same as ours. First arriving officers make entry, neutralize the threat, neutralize the threat, neutralize the threat. If I know that there's shooting going on in this room over here, I got to do what? I got to go into that room, right? I have to go into that room and neutralize it. Is it scary?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. We can sit back and say, these guys should have did this, they should have did that. We're not there. Granted, hindsight, we all see, where the problem was, what they should have done. But when bullets are flying, it's scary, right? It's scary. Or what the Suffolk Police Department does is if I arrive on scene at Suite 119 and there's an active shooter going on, I make entry into this building, and my only job is to find the threat and to neutralize the threat. Because the only way to stop the killing is to stop the killer, right? Best way to stop the killing is to stop the killer. So that's what the police do. That's what their plan was. But they didn't execute that plan. And could they have saved lives? Yeah, maybe. Would children already be dead? Yes, for sure. When we respond to an active shooter event, people are going to die. People are going to die. The one we just had recently was St. Louis. They came in, the police acted quickly, right? And they shot this guy, but we still had 2 dead people. I don't say 3 dead people because I don't consider the shooter a person. So I don't even count them as part of the dead. The dead is the victims that they came and shot. So avoid, deny, defend, run, hide, fight. That's what we're going to talk about. I think we're going to talk about. Okay, how do we avoid? Pay attention to your surroundings. How many of you guys, when you go out with your spouse or your family, you sit down at the restaurant, what's the first thing you do when you sit down? Look around. What's the first thing you really do when you sit down? You get your phone out, right? And you start looking at your phone to see what you missed on the ride to the restaurant. Right? Right? Pay attention to what's going on. You cannot pay attention to what's going on around you if your face is buried in a phone. You can't, guys. And we are hooked on these phones. Me too. Me too. I don't do social media because there's so much negativity there. I don't do it because I just can't. I don't need any more negativity in my life. I have enough. So I don't even bother with that, Facebook and all that stuff. But I sat at a restaurant the other day, sat there and with my grandson and my wife, and I looked around, and 9 out of 10 tables, everybody was on their phone. They were sitting together, but they were on their phones. What does that do? There's 2 things. You're not paying attention to your surroundings, and you're not paying attention to your family. And if you're going to do that, stay home. Stay home and eat your dinner at home, right? So just something to think, because I'm guilty of it sometimes too. I'm not saying I'm not. And if you are, something to think about, right? Maybe spend less time on our phone and more time engaging and paying attention to what's going on around us. Because if your face is buried in your phone, you're not paying attention to what's going on around you. I pay attention to what's going on around me because I've paid attention for 26 years what goes on around me, because people close to me make me really nervous, and that's just part of being somebody close to you makes you nervous too, though, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody starts getting up in your space, you're nervous, right? Tell them to get out of your space. Get out of your space, right? When you sit at the restaurant, where do you sit? Where? Close to a door. Do you really do that, or you say, where do I sit? With my back to the wall, looking out, right? And that's what everybody does more so now, right? You're uncomfortable if you're in a way. I know I am. If I go to a spot and I'm sitting somewhere in the middle, man, it just drives me crazy the whole time. With people going behind me and beside me and bumping into me and driving me crazy. So pay attention to your surroundings. That's the most important thing. Have an exit plan. Know how to leave. You knew how to get in the door, right? Know how to get out. How many exits do we have? You're making this plan in your head, right? I'm not asking you guys to get your family. Hey, everybody sit down. I'm making the plan. Hold on. I'm writing this down. I don't expect you to do that. You can formulate all this in your head in a matter of minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You don't have to be War and Peace, right? You can formulate this plan in your head, and what it's going to do. I tell myself, all right, if somebody comes through this door shooting right now, I'm going that way. I'm going that way. When somebody comes through that door shooting right now, what am I going to do? I'm going to go that way, right? Because I already told myself I was going to go that way. If I hadn't made that plan, the person comes through the door, boom, here they come, then I got to go. Damn, there's a guy with a gun. I think I'll go that way. As I'm doing that, what am I doing? Still standing there. Yeah. Instead, that's me shooting Lisa from here, or me shooting Lisa to there, right? Distance, barriers, all this stuff. Move away from the source of the threat as quickly as possible. Best way not to get shot is to not be there. And that's paying attention to your surroundings. You always have to, as a policeman, I'm no different than you guys. I am no different than you guys. The only difference is that I have different training than you guys have. I've spent my life preparing for different things than you have. I can't do your job, and y'all can because you do it, right? Every day. You train for it, you're ready for it, you do it. So I'm no different than you. I don't see things better than you do. I don't hear things better than you do. I just pay attention probably better than you do of who's around me and what they're doing, and what's going, seeing little things of, people that maybe don't belong or seem out of place, or they're out of place doing something. I was working at a bank. I was working at a bank as security, and a guy came in and came into the bank. I don't think he was expecting to see me. He came in, then he saw me, and I could tell immediately when he saw me that his demeanor changed. That he was like, "Oh, good." So he went up to the clerk, and you know what he asked the clerk? "Where's the bank?" And she said, "This bank." He goes, "Oh, okay, thank you," and left. Now, should that make your hair stand up when you say, "But hey," he changed his mood when he saw me. I noticed that. Then he asked a dumb question, and he left. And when I followed him out to see where he was parked all the way over at the Food Line parking lot when the bank parking lot was empty. So that's more red flags, right? That's the reason I say that, just paying attention to what's going on. It's a bad thing, right? Did he break any laws? No, but I should be paying attention to him. I should get a tag number maybe and check him out and see who he is, what his deal is, right? Pay attention. That is the most important thing that you can do, is pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't bury your head in your phones. Deny. When you can't get away, when you can't run, when you don't know where the shooting's coming from, you don't know where the threat's at, right? If you just run willy-nilly and don't know where you're going, you could be running towards a problem. Before you run, know where you're running, know where the problem is. Keep distance between you and the source. Create distance, like Lisa did, right? She took her 10 seconds and she left, right? She created distance. It's going to make her less of a target for me. Create barriers. Block these doors. Pile it up, because the harder they have to work to get in, the less likely you're going to be a target, because they know that it's going to take 7 minutes for the police to get there. They're on a clock too, right? They know from first shot that the police are coming. Now, we may get there in 7 minutes, we may get there in 10 minutes, we may get there in 3 minutes. You don't know. So it's time, right? Time. If we make it hard for them to get to us, then they're going to maybe go after somebody else, right? Does that suck for the other person? Yeah, but it don't suck for you, right? Your job, your family expects you to come home, right? Your family expects you to come home. And the only way to do that is to pay attention to what's going on. When I tell you to hide, how long should you hide? Until I find you, right? Until I find you, until the police find you, hide. If somebody says, hey, it's all clear, come out. Nope. Nope. I got to see you and I got to know that you're the right person, because we had talked about it. If you're playing in this building, it's active shooter, everybody run out and everybody gather at parking lot 119. Well, your shooter probably going to come from within anyway, right? It's either going to be a mad employee or a mad client or whatever. They're going to come from within, and they're going to know I'm going to shoot Lisa, and then I'm just going to walk out to 119, and when everybody meets, I'm going to shoot them there, right? When I tell you to run away, I want you to run away, and I want you to keep running until you can't run any further, until you know you're safe, right? I don't know what your plan is here. I don't know what your plan is, and I'm probably stepping on somebody's toes, but this is different. This ain't a tornado drill. This ain't a fire drill. This is a very fluid situation that's happening and changing all the time. When you get your butt outside that door, keep getting it. Keep getting it. If you got access to your car, jump in your car and go home. Call back, because they're going to want a head count, right? Where's Lisa? We ain't seen Lisa, but I want Lisa to call back. Or I want Lisa to call from Arby's down the street, because she ran that far. I want her to call and say, hey, I'm okay. I don't want to count Lisa by going, there's one, there's two. I don't want to count bodies. All right? I want everybody to be gone. Run away and run away far, okay? And do not come back until you know it's safe to do so. Hide. Hide good. Barricade doors. And do not come back. Do not come out until you know it's safe to do so. Barricade that door. Now, what do we do if that person gets through the barricade? They're coming in. We didn't barricade quite as good. Now they've made entry into here. What should we be doing to prepare ourselves? We got weapons here. Anything's a weapon, right? I don't know about you guys, but it hurt to get hit by this chair. Right? It hurt to get hit by this table. It would hurt to get hit by that laptop. It would hurt to get hit by that coffee cup. That would all hurt, right? It would hurt to get hit by a stapler. It would hurt to get clocked in the head with a fire extinguisher, right? They get through that door, the whole time they're working at it, you should be preparing yourself to fight. And when I say fight, I mean fight. I don't mean, stop, don't hit me. Don't hit me. I don't mean that. I mean fight, right? And I shared this story last time, and I'll share it again, is I went to arrest a dude on a warrant call. And I knew the guy, going to do that is something you do as a policeman all the time. So I know the guy had a warrant. I knew I wanted to pick him up, so I went to his house to pick him up. He's about 6'2", 230. And as y'all can see, I'm an imposing figure, right? When I show up, he's scared immediately because he goes, oh, Lord, they sent this big dude after me. So I get there, and as soon as I pull it up, I'm already assessing, right? I'm already going, he's kind of big. And get there, and I explain to him, hey, I got a warrant for your arrest. We got to go down. Not making a big deal out of this. I know your family's here, your kids are here. I'm not going to embarrass you. Let's walk out to my car. I'll handcuff you in the front. Back then, we didn't have shields. So the prisoner rode up front. I said, you ride in the front. I almost let him drive, just so I could not get beat up. So I'm like, all right, let's go. And he weighed his options, and he said, nah, I don't think I'm going to go. That's what I said, Lisa. I was like, I should have talked longer. So I said, look, dude, you got to go. Now I'm out of options, right? I got one thing I can either just say, look, you're right. Just go back inside, whack like this never happened. I'll leave, you leave. Don't tell anybody. I won't. And leave, but I can't do that, right? I have to arrest him. So I go to put my hands on him. And I don't know, guys, if you've ever done this, when you put your hands on somebody and you immediately realize you shouldn't have done that. That's what happened to me. As soon as I touched him, I was like, I probably should have talked longer. But it's too late, right? I'm committed. Now he's committed. Most policemen will tell you, hey, I got in a fight. I got in a fight. And most of the time that's not true. I'm trying to arrest you. You don't want to go. So you're not trying to hurt me. You're just trying to get away from me. This guy wasn't trying to get away from me. Now the fight was on, right? And surprisingly so, I'm doing pretty good. I'm like, well, don't get me wrong. I'm losing. I'm losing the fight, but I'm not getting killed. I'm like, all right, I'm going to heal up. 7 minutes, right? I'm thinking, I got to go 7 minutes, man. Hurry up. We talked about it being a long time. I was in my, man, where are y'all at? It takes forever for the police to get here. So we're going. And then he starts pulling out my gun. He's going to take my gun from me. And now everything changes, right? Everything changes. Now from me thinking, doing pretty good. I'll heal up. Now I'm thinking, oh God, if he gets my gun, now if I lose, he's going to kill me. He's going to take my gun and he's going to shoot me with it. He's going to kill me. So now I'm in a situation that if you lose, you die. That's the situation you're going to be in an active shooter. If you lose that fight, they're going to kill you. Right? If I lost this fight, he was going to kill me. So what did I do? Did I beg for my life? I wouldn't tell y'all if I did or didn't, because we didn't have cameras back then, so I can make up my own story. No, I didn't beg for my life. But I bit him. I pulled his hair. I kicked him in the groin. I poked him in the eyes. I did everything I could possibly do to survive, right? Because it's not about win or lose. It's about surviving. I had to survive. And finally, the police got there and we hooked this dude up, got him in the car and all that. And so now, what am I doing? I'm telling my story. Don't matter what my story is, right? Because the only one knows my story is me and him. So they're trying to put him in the car. And I'm like, look, dude, check this out. I did some really sweet MMA moves on this dude. I got him out. I made up my story of how I survived this fight and what I did. And this guy did not care that he was getting ready to go to jail. He was so mad that I was making up this story about me winning that fight that he was trying to explain it the whole time. No. I said, man, get him in the car and get him out of here. My point is, you got to survive. If I'd have lost that day, I would not have survived the day. Right? If you lose when an active shooter is in this building or wherever you're at, you are not going to survive the day. You have to win. When it gets down to fighting, you have to win. No matter what. No matter what you got to do, right? You hit them with the fire extinguisher, they go down, they get back up, what are we doing? Hit them again. If they get up again, what do we do? Keep hitting them until they don't get up, right? Somebody always asks the question, I don't know if it's out there or not, but if I kill them when they're in here, am I going to get in trouble? Question, right? And today, it's a valid question. I'll tell you that we can meet like force with like force, right? If I come up, what's your name? Mary. If I come up and slap Mary, right? I don't know if Mary deserves it. Some of y'all are looking like maybe he should slap Mary. I'm not going to slap you, Mary, because I'm afraid of you. But if I do, what can Mary do? What is Mary going to do? She's going to slap me back, right? At the least. Now, can Mary pull out a 45 that she keeps in her purse and shoot me in the head? She may, but would that be wrong? I say yes, because I don't want her to shoot. But she carried it too far then, right? Now, Mary would have to, you got to articulate why you in fear for your life. Can she articulate it still? Maybe. Maybe she can say, you know what, he slapped me. I thought he was going to take my gun, so I shot him. It's all about articulation, right? It's all about articulation. But you can meet like force with like force. Somebody comes in this building and is shooting people, and you neutralize that person, and part of that neutralized situation, they die, then I'm pretty sure you're going to be okay. Just like force with like force, right? Once y'all get them on the ground and got them neutralized, then now you can't come up and start kicking him and hitting him and, hey, let me get my turn. Let me get my turn. You got eventually, once the person is no longer a threat, you cease the behavior, right? Same thing the police are supposed to do. Once they're no longer a threat, stop the behavior. Stop what we're doing. Defend. Be aggressive, committed to your actions. Do not fight fairly. It's all about survival, right? All about survival. In my situation, I knew once that person started grabbing for my gun that it was all about survival. I had to change the way I was doing things. I had to win at that point because if I didn't, I was not going to survive. Don't fight fair. Never give up, right? That bird thought he had a frog. Lunch, right? Nope, not yet. Not yet. I want you guys to choke the bird, right? Call 911 when you're safe to do so. Don't assume that somebody called 911. Don't assume, but don't make it your priority when you're trying to save your life to call 911. When it's safe to do so, you call 911. Don't ever assume, well, somebody probably called because this is going on, right? Because the other person might be thinking somebody already called. When it's safe to do so, do it. When the cops get there, hands, right? Hands up. Why is that? That's right, because we don't know, right? We might have a very vague description of who the shooter is. We might know the gender, we might know the race, but other than that, we're not going to know a whole lot of information. We might know a clothing description. So just keep that in mind that the police do not know who the shooter is. The shooter is everybody coming out of this building to us, right? So when they're giving you instructions, follow those instructions because they're trying to do all these things at one time: make entry, stay safe, keep you safe, and identify a shooter. All this is running through their heads all at the same time. So do what they tell you to do. It's not the time to argue. Put your hands up, do it because hands kill. That's why police are always like, "Hey, can you take your hands out of your pocket? Do this because I'm afraid of hands because hands are going to shoot me, hands are going to stab me, hands are going to punch me. All the bad things that happen." That's why police always say, "Hey, can I see your hands? See your hands? See your hands." Just do it. The human brain, guys, is not made to. We're not made to handle trauma, right? We talked earlier that we're just alike, right? We're the same, except we have different training. My brain is no more ready to see a dead body than your brain is. I've spent 26 years of seeing dead bodies, but still, it's not easy. When you go, I have the advantage of it. I'm going to see a dead body. That usually I know I'm going to see a dead body before I get there. So I'm preparing my brain is what I'm getting ready to see, right? There's no magical powers in trauma. Car wreck, you get there and somebody's cut in half. There's no magical powers that says, "Oh, that ain't a big deal." You might see a police officer laughing at a scene or doing that's a coping mechanism. They're just don't know what else to do. You can laugh or you can cry. Neither one is good on scene, right? Neither one looks good on scene, but our brains aren't built that way. When we see trauma, we got to determine what it is, make a plan. This is what I'm going to do, and then we got to do it, right? And what is all that costing us? We talked about it earlier, right? You can't make that plan and execute that plan at the same time. You got to make it, then execute. If you haven't pre-planned in your brain to say what you're going to do, guess what? You got to plan when it's happening. And guess where the Buie family is when you're making your plan? Out the door. Gone, right? Because I don't have to be faster than the bear, just faster than you. I want you today to be faster than me. I want it to be a race to the door, right? We're all going. But I'm grateful if you don't make a plan and you're in the same restaurant I am because my family's going to survive. I may die from a heart attack on my living room floor, but I will not die from an active shooter. I will not die from an active shooter because I'm going to be ready when it happens. I want you to be ready when it happens. And remember, I'm no different than you. If we both plan and we both do it, we're both going to execute that same plan, right? So don't think that I'm different and I'm not. We're the same. We just got to plan. We got to train. We got to be ready. We had years ago. I was a sergeant. Went to a a breaking and entering in progress in Saratoga. I don't know if y'all know where Saratoga is. That is downtown. Um, Daytime. It's daytime, and it goes out of my other officer's work, and I was a sergeant, so I said I'll go because unfortunately it's not unusual to go to a breaking and entering. It could be absolutely nothing. It could be something. So I go as a sergeant. A K-9 guy goes with his German Shepherd, and another guy goes who's a complete health nut who runs 7 miles a day, and so we go surround the house, and I'm on one side, them two on the other side. So I got a 33% chance, right, that this dude ain't gonna come out my way. Because I'm thinking, I'm like the little league player who can't play very well, and I'm like, dear Lord, please don't let him come out my side. Don't let him hit it to me, please. So I'm sitting there, and what side to pop out? Boom, the sergeant side. So here we go. It's on now, right? He's running, I'm running, and once again, guys, I'm I'm doing pretty good, surprisingly. And I told this to the last class: if you're doing something and you're surprised you're doing well at it, you probably shouldn't be doing it. I tell them the equivalent of putting up a ceiling fan. If I put up, and I've done it before, put the ceiling fan up, and you get up there, you get all ready to go, you hook all the wires together, cut the electricity back on, and you flip the switch, and it worked. It worked. And you're surprised. I shouldn't have been putting a ceiling fan up. I'm going to burn the house down trying to do that. So if you're surprised you're doing well, you probably should rethink what you're doing. I'm chasing this dude. This is like an episode of Cops. Over fences, over ditches, and I'm like, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. And I'm thinking I'm going to catch him. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with him when I catch him, but I'm thinking, all right, I'm going to catch this dude. I've got him. So he stops. He stops cold, and his hands are down like this. And I stop. All right, I'm about from me to, what's your name? Shayna? Me to Shayna. I'm about from me to Shayna. So he stops, and I got a choice, right? I can either tackle him or I can stop. And I was afraid because I couldn't see his hand. So I didn't know. So I stopped. And when I stopped, my gun was in my hand. I never remember taking it out of the holster. I never remember aiming it at him, but it was there. It was in my hand. And he never turned around. Never turned around. I'm giving him instructions, what to do. He ain't following them. He takes off running again. I holster. Don't remember holstering. Don't remember putting my gun in the holster. We're running again. Well, he stops. He gets, we're getting towards Carolina Road now. He stops again, turns around, he's got a knife. And that's what I said. Oh. But my gun was already in my hand. It was already there. He turned around, and I had him. What we call sight alignment, sight picture. I had him. In my brain, I'd already shot him. He had already fell down. I'm already playing this out in my brain. And he had already fell to the ground. And he tells me, shoot me. And I'm like, dude, if you step one step this way, I'm going to. Because in police world, we have the 21-foot rule. And that's everybody's world. If I'm 21 feet is 7 yards. That's about from me to her. If she charges me now with that knife and my gun's in the holster, she can stab me before I can shoot her. She's going to get to me before I can get to her. All right, so he turned around and I had a gun out. A lot of things are happening now, right? Now, what has he done? He's brought a knife to a gunfight, right? He's lost because I got him already, and I knew I had him, and he started stabbing himself. That's what I said. I was like, he's stabbing himself, and I'm like, we talked about trauma, and your brain's not capable. I was starting to trip out a little bit. I was like, what the heck? This is another section I usually cuss at, but I'm not going to. But he's stabbing himself, and he breaks the blade. Oh, but now I'm doing. Now I can only imagine. I'm going, oh God, stop. So I don't know what to tell him. What do you say? Stop stabbing yourself or I'll shoot you? I don't know what to do. Yeah, I'm lost now. So he does that. He takes off running. Again. At this point, I'm done. But a K-9 dude shows up right at the same. He's like, hey, want me to put the dog on him? I said, yes. I wanted you to put the dog on him 3 blocks ago, that's what I wanted you to do. So I will tell you guys, and I will tell the people listening in, if you think you can outrun a German Shepherd, you cannot. This dude tried. He was running. He had about a 100-yard head start, and this dog was closing on him to the point where now I'm rooting for him. I'm like, dude, run faster. Go, 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 go. He's coming. And that dog arrested him. The dog took him into custody. And the dude got bit. He got bit, but he didn't get shot. And I tell you this story because I'm no different than you guys. But because I prepare and I trained, when I needed my gun, it was in my hand. And I never knew I put it there. It was there. And if it wouldn't have been there, this guy now turns around and sees me standing here like this. Now that him saying, I got him, is there instead of him going, oh God, he's got me. The point is, if you prepare, if you plan, you'll react. You won't have to think about it. That's where you need to be. When I asked you earlier, do you guys plan from last year's class? Have you got a plan together? And, I'm sure some of you have. I'm sure some of you have not. But that's that 10 seconds that's going to take your brain to interpret there's a problem. I got to do something. And while you're making all those questions and answers, you're still sitting in your seat when I'm gone, when I'm out the door, right? If you plan, you'll react. Your brain cannot plan and execute that plan at the same time. At the same time. It don't take long, guys. A minute, 60 seconds out of your day, wherever you're at, to say, man, if it goes bad right here, now what if today is today, right? What if today is the day that shooter comes through that door? Do you guys deal with the mentally ill every day? What do we hear about this happening a lot? I'm not pointing fingers. I'm just being real, right? What is the chance of something like that happening to you guys? More than most, right? More than most other people. It's more important that y'all plan and prepare than it is for most people. It's more important because you're not only threatened by society, you have clientele that you're threatened by that aren't always having a good day. Who aren't always taking the medication that they're supposed to be taking to have a good day. So something to think about. You have to prepare yourself. And if you do, I promise you, then you'll take the bat up to the plate. You'll take the bat with you. If you don't, I promise you that I don't have to be faster than the bear. It's faster than you. I'm going to get into all this because this is what we got to do, guys. This is what happens to us. Right now, we're all having a conversation. We're pretty good. We're good to go. 60 beats a minute, right? Close to that, 50 to 60 beats a minute. We're all relaxed, right? You're all pretty sure at this point I'm not going to take my gun out and shoot Lisa, right? Pretty sure. What if today is the day? How many times have you been to church and the preacher said, what if today is the day? Are you ready? Are you ready? And I'm not coming. I don't want to come across as a biblical person because I'm not. But what if today is today? Are you ready? If you're not, you got to get ready, guys. You got to get ready. Heartbeat is normal right now. Good to go. We're all talking. We're having a good conversation. Then all of a sudden, here comes the dude with the trench coat and the cowboy hat through the door. Now I'm like, I'm conditioned yellow. Right now I'm like, okay, who is this dude and what's he doing here? Why is he dressed like that? I'll start asking myself all these questions. Now what happens to me is that person becomes my focus, right? He becomes the person I'm watching everywhere he goes to see what he's doing. Higher state of alert. Condition red, motor skills deteriorate, peak physical performance. You're stronger, faster, and will bleed less. An attack is imminent or in progress. When I was getting my tail whipped, that's where I was, right? I was stronger, I was faster. But what happens in those situations is I'm stronger, I'm faster, but I'm losing this. I'm losing my thinking. I'm starting to focus in on the one thing, the tunnel vision. That's all I'm thinking about. If that guy would have had another buddy, I would have been in trouble, right? Because I wouldn't even paying attention to anybody else but him. Condition gray, tunnel vision, auditory exclusion, time, time ain't like you think. It slows down, right? I told you when the dude was running and he stopped, turned around and had a knife, everything started slowing down for me, it started like slow motion. And I pictured me shooting him and him falling down. All those things were happening, which was helping me, but it was also hurting me. I was starting to get very close to condition black, which my brain's telling my body, hey, we got to shut down. This is not working. I got to get the blood to all the places that needs blood to survive. The rest of it don't matter. That's why your fingers don't work as good. Your legs don't work as good. Your arms don't work as good because all the blood is going to your organs to keep you alive. So that's what's happening to you in those situations. Guys, you got to see what's happening. You got to position yourself to respond. You got to determine what you're going to do. Then you got to do it. Right? That's the decision-making process. That's the decision-making process. You got to see it. You got to position yourself to respond to it. You got to determine what am I going to do now? And then you got to do it. I need you to go see it to acting in a second. I need you to see it and act in 1 second. All right? If you got to go through all these steps, if you got to go through all of these steps in your mind while you're sitting there, the Buie family is starting the car and are leaving the building. Right? See it, act. See it, act. The only way to do that is if you have some type of plan in place. And like I told you, it don't have to be written. It don't have to be War and Peace. It has to be something in your brain. There's the exit. I know where the exit is. Because if you don't know where the exit is, when it happens bad, guess what you got to find? The exit, right? Best way not to get shot is to not be there. Once you make a decision, act quickly. Once you make that decision, decide what you're going to do and do it with passion, right? Do it with the best of your ability. Run fast, run far, hide good, barricade good, fight hard. It's about survival, right? Fight hard. Don't give up. We interpret things as if this really can't be happening, right? Especially traumatic events. Y'all remember the tornado that we had back, 2007? I don't remember the date, but it was the F3 that tore up a lot of stuff and stuff. Yeah, and I had I was at the YMCA when that happened with my daughter. We're at the YMCA on Godwin Boulevard, and we're in there working out, doing our thing, and all of a sudden we call them the purple shirts. People come running in there. Everybody out to the men's locker room, And I'm like, whoa. I'm not listening to what you tell me to do. Because like dudes we know everything, right? I don't need him to tell me what to do. I know what to do. I didn't know there was a tornado. I didn't know what the heck he was doing. He was just telling us to leave, and I wanted to know why. Why are we leaving? Why instead of taking his word for it? So then, within seconds, me and my daughter were the only ones in the room. We're sitting there by ourselves, and I'm like, all right. I said, look, there's a door right there. Let's just go out the door. Let's just go. So we open the door and go out, and we're looking now towards 58. And I stopped. I was like, oh my God, is that a tornado? And she goes, yeah, that's a tornado. And I'm like, go to the men's locker room. Let's go. So we run, and we get there, and we're sitting in there. And I tell you that because my brain, that we all know the path it took. It crossed Route 10, and it didn't come our way, thank goodness. But if it had made a left turn and hit the YMCA that day, there would have been at least 2 casualties. It would have been us because I didn't act. Because I was smarter than everybody else, right? I didn't act. I didn't have a plan. I didn't do it. I was trying to formulate my plan before I did anything. And then if that tornado would have turned, we'd have still been standing there in that room. and caught the full brunt of it, right there. So we go to the dude's locker room, and I've never seen kids this quiet. I don't know how many you guys have kids, but kids ain't never quiet. They're loud, and they talk 25 octaves higher than they should. I'm telling a story. So we're in this locker room. Everybody's in the dude's locker room, and you can hear a pin drop because these kids are what? Scared. Yeah, they're truly scared. They're truly scared. Now they love the adults. Now they love it. But we're sitting there and it's deadly quiet. And we're all just waiting to hear that train, that tornado, they say it sounds like a train. Well, I'm just waiting. Because I know in the YMCA we're like in a tin building, like in a garage is what it's made. I was like, oh God, this ain't gonna be good. And then my daughter says, you know what? I've never been in the men's locker room before. And I'm like, there we go. So thank God for that you've never been in the men's locker room. So the reason I tell you that is because you have to see what's happening and act on it. I didn't do that, and it would have cost us our lives had it went a different way. I don't want it to cost you your life. When the police arrive, y'all know what to do, right? Hands up. I'm not going to get into a lot of this because you guys know what to do. The police are going to be looking for this. They're going to come in here, and as they clear the building and try to respond to the shooter, they're going to be quizzing you in passing, right? If you're hurt, they're not going to stop and help you. They may drop a tourniquet off for you and say, here, put this on, stop the bleeding. I got to go. So usually what we learn is that if all of you guys are running this way, then the problem's behind you, right? And we need to be going the other way. So but they may shoot, hey, who is it? What do they look like? What kind of weapon do they have? And we can say, pistol, long gun. You don't have to be specific, that kid that went into St. Louis had a long gun. It was an AR-15 style gun, is all they said. 600 rounds of ammunition. 600 rounds of ammunition. He was in for the long haul, and the police killed him. Which I'm not going to mourn at his funeral. Okay, we're not going to get it. You might see policemen without uniforms, which makes it difficult, right? Makes it difficult for y'all, but makes it difficult for us too, because we're here in northern Suffolk. You may get Chesapeake cops, you may get Portsmouth cops because we're on the border. They may respond also. So who do you know who's a real cop, who's not a real cop? We have in our city, we bought large sleeveless black shirts that say Suffolk Police on them. Reason for that is if I'm at the YMCA and I'm working out, I'm on my way home and something bad happens, I can throw that shirt on. And I know anybody can buy those shirts and write Suffolk Police on them, but at least it gives somebody a chance to know, hey, please don't shoot me. I'm a policeman, don't shoot me. So let me get through this quick. I know you guys know what to do. And this is what y'all deal with regularly is, and y'all are in this business. And first of all, I didn't say this earlier. I appreciate everything that y'all do. I really do, because you deal with problems that are the hardest in the world to deal with. At least they give me a gun, to deal between you guys and school teachers. There's not a harder job. Y'all do the hard work. So remember that every day when you're here working, that at least when you think the general public or people, it's a thankless job, remember that it's not. We all appreciate what y'all do every day because y'all have a hard job. And y'all bear the burden of other people's problems, right? You wear it every day because you want to talk and help people, right? That's what you guys in the business of, is helping people. So their problems that I don't want to use the word dump, but they tell you every day, y'all carry that with you. It's a weight. Okay, so remember that. Remember it's a weight, and know that there comes a time when your cup runneth over. You got to know when your cup is full. I was lucky because I knew when my cup was full. I knew when I was done, I said, man, I don't want to see any more dead people. I don't want to see any more hurt people. I just don't want, I want to be left alone. I knew that my cup was getting to the point where if I kept seeing that I was going to have a problem. I was smart enough to do that. You guys need to be smart enough to say, hey, I'm wearing too much. Talk to each other. Talk to whoever you need to talk to, but talk to somebody. All right. Active shooter situation. When you go through, what do you think it was like to go into a room with 19 dead children? Somebody had to do it, right? Somebody's got to go in that room. And when you go into an active shooter situation, what we don't teach is that the alarms are going off, the sprinklers are going off, there's blood on the floor. You may have to step over your dead coworker to get out of here. You know, you got to be prepared for those things, and you got to do it. And after the fact, you got to seek help for it. You know, you got to talk to somebody. You got to reach out, talk to somebody, because it's not easy. Speaking of helping your neighbor, what do you do when you go and I'm sorry, I forgot your name. Mary and Lisa are there. They work in the same area. They're going. Lisa's like, Mary, we got to go, and Mary's tripping, right? Mary ain't trying to go. Mary's froze up like a popsicle, right? She ain't going. No, 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 no. Stay right here, stay right here. Lisa's like, Mary, we got to go. What do you do, Lisa? Hold on. Lisa said, I hate to leave her. She didn't say she won't go to leave her. And that's not wrong. That's not wrong. Now, the question, now I say that because there's not a right answer to this question. It's a personal choice. Yeah. If I'm dressed like this, then I got to stay with Mary and help her, right? I got to do what I got to do. I can't leave her. I can't leave her. You can. And I will tell you this, that I will not judge you one way or the other. Because I do know that if Lisa is helping Mary and the shooter's coming and Lisa's got a way out and Lisa don't take it and Lisa stays with Mary, there's going to be two dead people. Right? He's going to shoot them both. So it's a personal choice that you make. And I will tell you this, that nobody is going to say, oh, you know, Lisa, why'd you leave her? Why'd you leave her? You know, nobody's going to say that because fear is fear. You know, your family expects you to come home, right? So does yours. Mary had done everything she can do for you, right? Let's go, let's go, let's go. Slapped you a couple times. Hey, wake up, Mary. Let's go. Let's go. And if Mary says, I can't go, good luck, Mary. I'll see you. You know, that's your choice. You know, a lot of you got to remember with this class, a lot of you guys are in a difference because I think are most of your or all of your clients adults. So you have some children too. So you're in different situations sometimes, right? Can I leave my client? Do I leave my client? That's a personal choice. You know, that's I don't know what your rules say. I'll just tell you it's a personal choice, and you do whatever you think you need to do. You know, because that's what I'm going to do, right? When I told you the Buie family's at the restaurant with you, because when I told you that I was kicking rocks out that door, I ain't playing. Yeah, I'm leaving. I may come back for you, but I'm going to come back when I know my family's safe. When I get my family safe first, right? So just throwing that out there. We didn't really touch on that. What do we do with clients, or what do we like schools? What do we do with our students, like librarians? What do we do with the children that are here in class? You know, there's all kind of different choices to make. 3 simple steps, guys. Know your surroundings. That's important, right? Know what's going on around you. Scan the area. When you go somewhere, take a look around. You know, nobody knows you're doing it. Take a look around. Know who's sitting beside you. You know, I listen to conversations a lot when I'm sitting somewhere and you can hear the people talking, you know, and you can tell by their different kind of conversations about really who's sitting beside you, you know, what kind of personality they have, whether they are loud and obnoxious and, you know, and all that. So you pay attention, know what's going on around you, have a plan. Where's the exit door? How do I get out of here? You know, where's the exit door at the restaurant, guys? Does the restaurant have a rear door? Yeah, it does, right? You ever seen them carry the trash out the front door? There's a back door, right? Where is it? In the kitchen. What else is in the kitchen? Pots and pans, knives, forks, weapons. You know, all those things. Know what you're going to do in the event of an emergency. Know what you're going to do. Use willpower. We talked about that. You have to survive. Your family expects you to come home. You cannot execute and form a plan at the same time. You have to make that plan in advance. I probably wouldn't even be sitting there having this conversation with you had I not planned that if somebody pulls a knife on me, I'm going to have a gun. Right? I'm no different than you. I just prepared. I'm not special. I just prepared. And that's what you can do. That's what you should do. Because in today's world, y'all remember Columbine, right? That seemed like when that happened, we were all tripped out, right? We were like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened. And it was news forever. Now we hear about an active shooter in St. Louis, 2 days ago. We hearing about it anymore? Ain't a big deal, right? Because 2 people died. Those 2 people have families. They have husbands, wives, kids. We are, as a society, we are becoming desensitized to violence. We really are. We're becoming, because we see it every day. Every day. And this year alone, there's been 50 active shooter / mass casualty shootings in America. 50. 50. And we are coming desensitized to only 2 people died. Not a big deal, right? Just 2 people, unless it's your family. Then it's a big deal, right? We can't allow that to happen. Where I live, we have horses. At my house, we have horses. And horses, if you didn't notice, horses are afraid of everything. Everything. Big 1,200-pound animal. My horse was tripping out one day, and he's a black horse, beautiful, big, strong. And he is out there bucking and jumping. I'm like, what in the world is wrong with him? And I go out there, and there's a ladybug on his back. A ladybug. And he is flipped out over this ladybug. He is trying to get his head around there to bite it. No, he is just flipped out. So when my horse is afraid of something, what do? I expose him to it, right? I desensitize him to it. They don't like flags. Flags are flopping, and it trips them out, right? They don't know what it is. Because horses are prey animals. They've been hunted their whole lives. So they're afraid of everything. And they pay attention to everything. So what do? I take flags out there, and I wrap them around his head. I rub them all over him to the point where he knows that ain't a big deal. It's not a big deal, right? As a society, we're seeing this so much that we're becoming, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Bad behavior is contagious, right? We see it all the time with our kids. Bad behavior is contagious, but so is good behavior. So is good behavior. So is bravery, right? When I'm asking you guys to step up and face an active shooter and fight them, that's brave. But if she does it and you see her do it, you go, I want a piece of this too. I'm going to get in there too. You're going to help because it's contagious. But just remember, and we're getting off base a little bit, but 95% of society is good. It's good people. 95% of society is you people. It's good people. And 5 to 3% of society are bad people, are cowards, are the ones that will go in and shoot 19 school children. We can't allow them to run our lives because that's what they're doing right now. They're dictating how we live our lives. They're dictating that I got to carry my weapon to a fall harvest festival at a school with, kindergarten and 4th graders. That's dictating what I have to do. But just remember that. I kind of throw that out there, is that you guys are the good people in society. Spread it. Be the mentors. Be the role models. Get in these young people's ear, whether they want to hear it or not, and tell them what the deal is. How many of y'all have kids? I told you I got a grandkid, and I'm in his ear all the time, and I can tell you that 98% of the time I'm like, that boy don't listen to nothing. And he ain't listening, he ain't paying attention. He listen. But I found out with my own children that I did the same thing as they got older. They are listening. He did this. I made the mistake twice. I coached his t-ball team. Which I'm better now because I'm older and I'm smarter and I'm more relaxed. But I showed him one time, hey, just take a ball. When I was a kid, you'd walk around and we didn't have nothing to do, right? We just take a ball, throw it up and down, play and catch for yourself. But it does a lot. It gets your hand-eye coordination going and working. So I showed him this one time, and I didn't think he ain't paying attention. Well, like a year later, he said, "Do you remember when you taught me to do it?" He remembers it. So they do pay attention. Even when you think they're not listening, they are listening. So stay in their ears, guys, and we're the good people of society. Let's be that. Let's be the mentors. Let's be the good examples. Let's get our heads out of our phones, and talk to each other. Let's do all those good things. And I'm just rambling on now, right? But this is what I see in life. I think if we add a little bit of Andy Griffith and a little bit of what we have in society right now, a little bit of the old and a little bit of the new, and we mix it together, we have an awesome society. We'd have a really good society. But we got to get there because we're headed in a bad direction. Headed in a bad direction. I keep messing with the sound thing, don't I? Choose to survive, guys. See it happening, act on it. See it happening, act on it. That's what you have to do. You guys have any questions? Yes, ma'am. I, I want to say yes. I have. I want. It was too late for them when they did that, but that's not as common as you would think, right? You would think that that's what I would do. Put all my stuff down and say, "Hey, I'm with them," and leave with the group. But most of the time, part of the group has already seen you, and they go, "No, no, no, that's her right there. That's her." They point them out. So it's not. I would think it would be more common, but you don't see it that often. Usually, what you see at the ending is suicide. You guys take care of business, or we take care of business, or they give up. Like the dude, remember the dude that went into the movie theater? I don't know where was that at? Colorado. Went to the movie theater and had to like the respirator on and threw tear gas and all that. What a weird dude, man. And what a bad spot to be in, right? As a person. You guys know the movie theater. Now they got the recliners in there. I can't go to the movies. I can't. Well, first of all, because I'm gonna go to sleep in the recliner. I ain't gonna see the movie. Second of all, there's no way out of there except down, except towards the gunfire. Man, what I tell you, since that incident, I very rarely go to the movies. I very rarely go to the movies. But he did his thing, and then what did he do? He gave up. He gave up, which is a coward. What did the kid do with the 19 school children? He gave up. Did he give up, or did we kill him in Texas? I think he's going on trial, right? Did they kill him? Yeah, he's dead. Okay. That's what I talked about that kid, and you look at him and say, "What does an active shooter look like?" And it looks like you and me, right? Looks like the person right next to you. But to answer your question, I have heard of that, but you don't see it very often. What else?
I wanted to take an opportunity to see if the participants heard the question in the room, because I think some of them might have heard your response, but not the question. And so just to summarize, the question was, has anyone ever began an active shooting event and then dropped their weapon and tried to blend in? But we did have a couple other questions. One that just came through. How does law enforcement feel about citizens having a CCP and carrying?
How does law enforcement feel about people having a concealed weapons permit? Is that what you're asking?
Let's see. Did you all hear the clarity in the drop it in the chat if that was accurate? Yes, that was accurate.
It's a concealed weapons permit, right? How do I feel about it? Guys, I'll tell you this. I'm not going to speak for the police department. I'll speak for me. Is bad people carry guns. Bad people carry guns all the time. I have no problem with good people carrying guns. But educate yourself. train yourself. You can't just go out and buy a gun and get a concealed weapons permit and say, "Oh, I got a gun now." You got to know how to use it. You got to know when to use it. You got to know all those things that come with carrying a gun, because what you're doing is if the bad guy don't have a gun, you're possibly providing him one. You have to do it responsibly. If you're going to do it, you got to do it responsibly. You got to know how to use the gun. You got to know when to use the gun, and you got to know how to work through malfunctions with the gun, reloads with the gun. It takes hours and hours of training to be good with a weapon. We have to bear that responsibility as good citizens. Bad citizens, they don't care, right? Because they can spray bullets everywhere and they don't really care where they go. We have to be accountable for every round, just like you have to do. Once you pull the trigger on a gun, you own that bullet. If I shoot at her and miss her and hit you, I own that, right? I gotta be able to say, remember the police shot this guy, shot at this guy. I think they killed him. I was in a department store, and the little girl was in the dressing room behind her with her mom, and the guy was standing in front of the partition, and the police engaged him, and they shot him. But one of the bullets went through the partition and struck the little girl and killed her in her mom's arms in the dressing room. You're responsible for every bullet that leaves that gun. I'm responsible for every bullet that leaves this gun. So you got to be educated, you got to be responsible, and you got to be able to make good choices. If you can't do that, then don't carry a gun.
Thank you. So I've had a couple people ask about the PowerPoint. So I know we're recording, and for all those that can hear me, this will be posted to our archives for you to go and view later. But will we be sharing a copy of the PowerPoint?
At this time, no.
Okay.
No. Y'all have it recorded. You have what I don't know if it shows the PowerPoint, but it's not. I mean, it's not really a secret. I guess to say, I'm not sure I can give it to you, but it's not a secret. It's not top secret information. I'm giving it to you right now. A lot of people want to do that, and they just use it in their annual training without having to go through everything. Just say, hey, here's the PowerPoint from last year. Look at that. But we'll have that discussion again. I'll check on my end and see if it's doable, and then we'll certainly, if I can share it legally, I'll certainly share it.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
There was another question, I think similar to the question that was asked in the room, but if while you were doing any one of these trainings, if anyone has ever tried to pull a weapon, a knife, or a gun while you were doing
During this training?
Mm-hmm.
No. And for anybody listening, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Because if there's going to be any surprises in the room, I need to be made aware of them. Because I'm the only one in here with a gun. So I think. If I'm not, don't tell me. Yeah, that's not. When we do training, when we do even practical training, where we say we're going to do an exercise where you guys are at work and an active shooter, everybody's aware that there's an exercise, going on. And I know the best training would be bust through the door and roll with it and let you guys be surprised. But that's so dangerous, because then all of a sudden John Rambo is going by in the car and goes, "Whoa, wait a minute, what do we got here?" and jumps out and shoots my role players. So when you're doing training, practical training, surprises are usually not good. People can get hurt, people can get killed, and you can do realistic training with everybody involved. Everybody knowing what you're doing without getting somebody hurt. Because we get that all the time. Hey, I want to surprise my people at the hospital. Can y'all come in? No, because it's a public place, and just bad. So to answer that question, nobody's ever pulled a knife or a gun while I was conducting training. Because they probably had, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation, because they would be dead and I would probably be unemployed.
Thank you. I would like to say somebody asked where is the link to our archive, so I've placed it in the chat for any of you on the Zoom portion of the training. If you're in person and you need that, I can share it to you. Just make sure you remind me on the way out. Are there any final questions for Major Buie? You're getting lots of praise in the chat, lots of thank yous, lots of excellent training. Are there any last questions before we wrap up?
If you guys would just remember, please, right, go home tonight, if you will. And I know I tell people this, and I don't know if they do it or not. I do it, right? What if, on a piece of paper, stick it to your refrigerator. Stick it to your refrigerator, because you go to your refrigerator every day for something. All of us do. What if today's today? What if today's today? Are we ready? Have we made our plan? Are we going to carry the bat up there? Are we going to leave it in the dugout? Are we going to get that 1% chance that we're offering? Am I going to shoot you at 3 feet? Or am I going to shoot at you at 30 yards? What if today's today? Because those days of thinking it ain't going to happen here are over, guys. It is over. And it doesn't apply just to your workplace. It applies to wherever you go. Concerts, church, assemblies, wherever there's going to be a large gathering of people. Unfortunately, what grocery store? Buffalo, right? Grocery store, everywhere. And, I know that for me, I think about it all the time when I'm out with my family, not to a point of obsession, but to a point of safety. If I don't think about it, then I feel like I'm not doing right by my family. Because they, especially me being a policeman, they expect me to protect them. Real quick, I'll share this with you guys real quick. We got pictures of my grandson for Halloween, and my daughter knew a girl she's a photographer. Well, she was doing Halloween pictures, and she set it up with my daughter that she's taking the pictures. The kids are sitting on like little hay bales, and photographers this way, the kids are back this way. Well, her husband plays Michael Myers. Yeah, we're all scared of him, right? And this dude plays the part well. Where they do it, where he comes and my wife is terrified of Michael Myers. This dude comes from like 100 yards back through the woods, and you can see him coming with the mask, and the kid's facing the opposite direction, so the kid don't see him coming. But I'm standing there, and I'm aware of this. I'm aware that this is going to happen. But my wife is not, and neither is my grandson. And all of a sudden, this dude now is closing in. He's walking, and my wife's like, "What? Do you see that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "Are you going to shoot him? Are you going to shoot him?" I said, "No, I'm not going to shoot him." That just goes to the play that if somebody's not aware that is a drill, bad things can happen, right? Because if my daughter hadn't have told me that Michael Myers was going to come, I might have shot this dude. Just because thinking in today's world, nice dress up, here he comes. He's going to start killing kids at the park. We were at a park. I just showed you have to let people know that it's an exercise or it's a drill because bad things can happen. And to finish that story, my grandson never turned around, never looked. This guy tapped him on the shoulder. He turned around, went right back to sitting there. Didn't scare him at all. Didn't faze him no more than the man on the moon. My wife was in the car heading down the road, left us at the park. If there ain't any more questions, I do appreciate the opportunity to talk to y'all. What if, right? Please, what if? What if nothing's, if this event ever happens to us in our city, at least I want our people to say, no, we had training, and we acted on that training, and it did or did not make a difference in what took place that day. All right? Hey, y'all, I got an open door policy, guys. You guys call down the police department, want to talk to me, say you want to talk to Major Buie, and you can talk to me anytime, okay? Or come down there, talk to me in person, whatever you want to do. But I do appreciate the opportunity to speak to you.